Hey YouTube, welcome back to part 2, adding a username to our domain. This follows on from part 1, link to which should be round about the top right of the screen. But the purpose of this is to actually create a username so we can log in as a domain user. So what we're going to do is just click on ADDS, and I'm just going to right click on the server here and click on Active Directory Users and Computers, and then we get our little folder up here, or our little screen up here, and I'm just going to click on the down arrow on steve.lab, and as you can see there's a few options here, or a few organizational units as they called these folders, and you can put some computers in, some domain controllers in, which automatically comes up with the DCO one we created in part 1. And if we click here, we have this folder called users. Now, as you can see, guest is disabled, default account is disabled, and administrator, which is the pre-built account that was carried across from part 1 when we built the server. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create a new organizational unit. So I'm just going to click on Steve Lab, and I'm going to create a new folder, and it's up to you whether or not you protect it. It's kind of handy to have, and I'll explain why in another episode why this is kind of useful. And we can put in there, I don't know, for the sake of argument, lab users. So in lab users here we can create some more OUs. This will be handy for later episodes, but I'll just run through it again, and we can just literally create a subfolder here. You'll kind of see why this is useful. Ooh, wrong screen. You can just right click, go to new, and then organizational unit, or we can just click the icon at the top, and we can just put in, I don't know, IT-admins, because we don't want to use the administrator account. So now we've got IT admins, and actually let's just create another one as well. Let's do it. Organizational unit, just to see. And we've got users. So the idea is our admins go in this one and our users go in the one below. Now to create a user, it's just literally right click, new, and then you got computer, contact, group, yada 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 yada. right down the bottom here we have the user. Now, if you are running a hybrid domain or an Azure domain, things might be a little bit squiffy. For instance, if you are controlling your Office accounts via the Office Admin Center or via a Microsoft 365 in Azure, then this will propagate your domain automatically. However, if you are using on-prem only, this is kind of how you would create a user for your domain. So it may differ. Okay, there you go. Any problems, questions, please leave a comment below or email me, and I will quite happily help. Anyway, so the first name is obviously the first name, so for me it's going to be Steve. I'm just going to put in J and then my last name, and as you can see the full name has automatically been filled out for us, and then all that's left to do is to use a user logon name, and for this I'm just going to do steve.holdy, which is the first name dot last name technique you'll find most organizations use. And then you've got your domain login name. Now you might have different offices in different countries with different email addresses or prefixes, and that is how you would do it. So we've just only got Steve Lab, and that's it. That's fine for us. And then we've got the NetBars name Steve, and then the logon name steve.holdy. Now we'll just click next. Now it's going to ask us to type in a password. So password is now enabled, and here you can have it so that the user must change their password at the next log on. That's handy if they've forgotten their password and you're resetting it, because obviously we don't want to know their passwords. So yeah, we can change their password if they've forgotten it, and then they log in and then they get a message on the screen saying, hey, you need to change your password. to demonstrate that, I will show that. So we'll leave that one on for now. User cannot change their password. Again, that will be useful for service accounts or anything that you don't want people to change the password for. Password never expires. We'll go into that when we start going into the group policies. And account is disabled. Well, that's if the person has left the business, and you want to keep their account there, or they might be on leave, or yeah, basically it just does exactly what it says on the tin. It disables the account, and then they can't log in. So yeah. Just click next after there, and you just get a prompt here, and then we click finish, and that is our user created. Now, because we're an IT admin, we need to give this guy some rights, and we need to fill some more information in. And you can see here that there's a lot more options. You can put in a description, the office, so it could be, I don't know, UK, the phone number, the email address, the web page of your corporation. This is kind of handy if you're using software for email signatures or anything that hooks into the Active Directory, and it will pull all the user information out as required, and then you can put your office address in. You kind of get the idea. Account, this is where the logon name is, so if you want to change the logon name, you can. And again, here you can unlock the account, so if they've locked themselves out through typing in an incorrect password, or the account has expired, so you can create a temporary account if you've got some temp staff in or whatever. And again, you can click these options here where again we can unselect, so if you did make a mistake at the start of it, you can go here, or if you've changed their password, having had the user creation, we'll do that again, but you can untick that box and everything else in there. The profile pretty much says on the tin. Telephones, again, you can put more phones in there and add some notes. Organization, this one's cool, you can put manager in, a job title, department and company. Again, this is mainly for things that hook into the AD. Remote control, again, enable remote control. Remote desktop service profile if you want to use any of this. Com Plus, I've never really used this myself, but yeah, you've got the things there. Sessions, again, this is kind of not really used these days unless you're using certain hookings. And then the dial in, again, you can allow access control through MPS network policy. Yeah, you get the idea. And then member of. Now, automatically you're going to be a domain user because the user has been created within the domain. And here's where you can add groups. And you can only add the groups that are within the domain. So if I just type in DOM and then click check names, we can see we have a standardized group of domain admins, and this is basically designated administrator of the domain. So you are now by signing this group, you will now be a member, or that person will be a member of the domain admins and therefore have domain administration access. We'll go into that in a later episode when we talk about security groups. Domain users, as I just said, everyone is in there. Domain guests, if you're creating guest account, you can assign domain guests. Domain controllers are for domain controllers, and domain computers are, again, when we join computers to the domain, they'll automatically join the security group. But we're more interested in domain admins so that we have admin access under this account. Having done that, we just click apply, and then we click OK, and there we go. Now, if I want to make a change here, I can just right click, and I can add to a group directly, and again just type in the group, or we can disable the account, and then we got the disabled icon down here so that the user can't log in anymore. And if you want to enable the account, you can just by enabling it. Then you got reset password, and again we've got the option here that the user must change their password at the next time they log on. So if I was to get hold of myself and say, hey, I've forgotten the password, I could change my password, and then I could remind myself that I need to log on and change the password when I try logging in. And then if I've locked myself out, I can literally unlock my account. Move is literally moving within the organization. This is kind of useful if you have, or very useful, not kind of useful, very useful, if you've got certain group policies within things, or people move around departments. You can then move them, or you can just drag and drop between wherever you want them to go to. Open home page is pretty much open the home page that you've set in the user's info. Send mail, again, send mail. And again, we've got all tasks, which is pretty much everything that's there. And then you've got cut, delete, rename, so you can rename the user, and properties, which opens up your main page, and then help if you do need some help. So that's our user created. So what I'm going to do just quickly is just log out of the administrator account. So I'm just going to do sign out. And then I'm just going to click up there. And then I'm going to click on other user and then go to steve.holdy and type in my password. And then as you can see, the user's password must be changed before signing in. So this is what that does. It basically turns around and says, hey, you need to change your password. So I'm just going to change it now. And then click the arrow. And it's going to change the password with the domain, and I'm now able to log in. So just going to do sign in again, and we're now logged in as that new user, as a domain admin. So we've still got the same rights as we had before because we are domain administrator, but I'm now logged in as my new user. And just go here, sorry, just do Control-Alt-Delete and go to switch user. We can see we should still be logged in. There we go. We are now logged in. So if I just do that, help if I actually inputted the correct password, we're back to where we were. As always, if you found this useful, please let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you in part 3, where we go into more about the security groups and the options available. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Goodbye.